Karl Marx died in 1883. The man never touched a smartphone, never sat through a YouTube ad, and absolutely never cracked open a prime hydration. And yet, if you sit down and actually read what he wrote, it reads less like 19th century economic theory and more like a disturbingly accurate personality profile of a man who currently holds a WWE championship belt, runs a drink brand in complete freefall, and is facing fresh scam accusations in 2026. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern. And here is what makes it genuinely unsettling. Marx wasn't the only one. Because by the time this video is over, you are going to realize that some of the greatest philosophical minds in human history, working across 2,500 years, completely different disciplines, completely different centuries, all looked into the mechanics of human society and described the exact same person. They just didn't know his name yet. We filled that part in ourselves. We gave him the microphone, the followers, and the platform. And then we acted surprised when he used all of it exactly the way every single one of those thinkers warned us someone would. So let's go through it. All of it. Starting with Marx. One of Marx's most important and most consistently misunderstood ideas is commodity fetishism. The concept is this. Under capitalism, something deeply strange happens to objects. People stop seeing them for what they actually are and start assigning them a kind of magical social power based purely on who is attached to them. The brand becomes the product. The symbol gets sold instead of the actual thing. People stop buying objects and start buying feelings. Marx was writing about textile mills and factory goods in 1867. In 2021, Logan Paul called it Crypto Zoo. For those who missed the disaster, Crypto Zoo was a blockchain game Logan aggressively marketed to his audience. You could buy digital tokens and NFTs representing animals. The pitch was clean and compelling. Invest early, the game gets built out, the value grows, everyone wins. Except there was no game, no real product, no function, no utility, no inherent value of any kind. Just digital images on a blockchain with Logan Paul's face attached to them. And it still sold, massively, because his fans weren't buying a game. They were buying the feeling of being connected to Logan Paul. The token was almost irrelevant. What they were actually purchasing was a relationship with his brand, which is commodity fetishism operating at full, unrestrained throttle in the 21st century. CoffeeZilla published a 3-part expose that dismantled the entire operation. Class action lawsuits followed. Logan threatened to sue CoffeeZilla, then deleted his own response video, then quietly promised $1.3 million in refunds that critics say never fully materialized. And his fans, many of them teenagers who had just lost real money, mass reported the investigation videos and flooded the comments defending him. Which brings us to the second Marx concept, false consciousness. The idea that people within a capitalist system get so thoroughly manipulated that they begin actively defending the very structure that is exploiting them. They don't just accept the exploitation, they cheer for it. They attack anyone who dares question it. They become, essentially, unpaid PR agents for the exact person taking their money. When Prime Hydration faced lawsuits over misleading health claims and caffeine levels, twice the daily recommended amount for adolescents, fans went online to defend the drink. When Logan uploaded the 2017 Japan Suicide Forest video, where he filmed an actual deceased human being and uploaded it for content, a significant portion of his audience's immediate instinct was not to question it, but to explain why it wasn't actually that bad. These are teenagers defending a multi-millionaire who sold them a broken crypto game, a collapsing drink brand, and once treated a dead body as engagement content. That is not loyalty. That is not admiration. That is textbook false consciousness. And Marx described this exact psychological trap in 1845. Logan Paul monetized it starting in 2013, which is almost impressive if it weren't so thoroughly depressing. And then there's capital accumulation, the relentless drive to generate more capital, not by building something real and lasting, but by extracting value as fast as possible before the model exhausts itself and moving on. YouTube ad revenue, Maverick merch, Prime, CryptoZoo, Pokemon cards, liquid marketplace. Prime generated over £120 million in UK revenue alone in 2023 before dropping 70% in a single year, with his bottle supplier Refresco filing a $68 million lawsuit over allegedly unpaid contracts. A $16 million Pokemon card deal in early 2026 is already drawing fresh accusations of misleading his audience. Liquid Marketplace descended into controversy, and then Logan simply stopped associating with it, leaving fans holding nothing. That is not someone building something sustainable. That is pure extraction. Hype it up, monetize the hype, exit before the collapse becomes your problem. Logan Paul is not breaking the system. He is the system, running exactly as Marx said it always would. But Marx was writing about economic structures. What he doesn't fully capture is the individual psychology, the specific type of person who rises to the top of these systems not just as a product of their environment, but as a deliberate, calculated choice. For that, we go back 500 years, to 1513, to Niccolo Machiavelli and the Prince. Depending on who you ask, it's either the most important political manual ever written or the most dangerous book ever published. Possibly both. And if you read it while thinking about Logan Paul, it stops feeling like a Renaissance text and starts feeling like a personality assessment written specifically for him. Machiavelli's most famous argument is this: a ruler doesn't need to be virtuous. He only needs to appear virtuous. Reality is irrelevant. Manage the image, and you can do almost anything underneath it. Logan Paul has never once been caught without a preloaded redemption arc ready to deploy. For the Suicide Forest video, tearful apology and charity donation within days. For CryptoZoo, vague acknowledgement of mistakes and immediate pivot to the next venture. For Prime's lawsuits, let the lawyers handle it and announce the next WWE storyline. The performance of accountability is always available. The actual accountability almost never arrives. Machiavelli went further. He wrote that the most dangerous and nearly impossible to topple ruler must operate simultaneously as both a lion and a fox. The lion uses force, dominance, and intimidation as currency. The fox uses cunning, deception, and strategic repositioning. The lion is Logan's boxing matches, his WWE runs, his willingness to publicly escalate any conflict that generates eyeballs. The fox is every pivot, from vlogger to boxer to beverage mogul to WWE personality. The way CryptoZoo's collapse got quietly reframed as a learning experience, and the way the Japan Forest video somehow became a comeback narrative. Every retreat is a repositioning. Every apology is a rebrand. Machiavelli wasn't celebrating this type of person. He was warning us they existed. We had 500 years to absorb that warning. We handed Logan Paul 60 million followers instead. Here is what I want you to actually sit with. Karl Marx, Machiavelli, Plato, Nietzsche, some of the greatest minds in recorded human history, working in completely different disciplines, separated by centuries, all looked at the mechanisms of human society and described in precise, documented detail the exact type of person Logan Paul has become. That is not coincidence. That is a pattern so old, so consistent, and so thoroughly documented that the smartest people who ever lived felt genuinely compelled to write warnings about it. We had 2,500 years of documentation, and we gave him everything anyway. Drop your take in the comments. Was the rise of Logan Paul inevitable, or did we collectively ignore every warning sign that was ever written? Like this video if it made you look at him differently, and subscribe because the next breakdown is already coming. See you there.